Today's episode of WTF is sponsored by Audible. Go to audiblepodcast.com/WTFpod to get a free audiobook download. We're also sponsored today by Squarespace, but it looks like a lot of you already know how great Squarespace is. I asked you to send me some websites you designed with Squarespace, and man, we got a ton of them. So if you're not using Squarespace and you want to build your own site, here's one you can check out. Olivia Notter is a designer and photographer, and she made a really beautiful site with Squarespace. The site is olivianotter.com. That's Notter, spelled Notter. And she told us that she, quote, loves Squarespace because it's so customizable. I'm so happy to be using it for my design portfolio site. It lends such a professional look, yet there's so much you can do to make it your own, unquote. If you want the fastest way to create a high-quality website or blog, you have to use Squarespace. Domain names, custom design, and great customer support. For a free trial, go to squarespace.com, click Enter an Offer Code under Pricing at Checkout, and use the offer code WTF5. That's WTF and the number 5. Squarespace. Everything you need to create an exceptional website.
Lock the gate!
Are we doing this? Really? Wait for it. Are we doing this? Wait for it. Ow! What the fuck?
WTF.
And it's also, what the fuck? What's wrong with me? It's time for WTF. What the fuck?
With Marc Maron.
All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers? What the fuck buddies? What the fucking ears? What the fuck nicks? Welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming. I'm smoking a cigar right now. Someone gave me a really good cigar from Cuba, so I'm smoking it. Do I have reason to celebrate? Perhaps. Is it the reason you think? Maybe, maybe not. Am I going to tell you about it? Yeah. I like cigars. It's not an affected thing either. I actually have a taste for them, and I know which ones I like. I'm not a phony. I don't smoke them a lot because you know why? They'll give you mouth cancer. But what can I tell you? Right off the bat, Tommy Stinson, the bass player and original member from the Replacements, the Mats, anybody, indie rock, one of the best rock and roll bands that ever lived, Replacements, out of Minnesota, my friends. Yes, I think you know. Tommy Stinson is here. I'm going to talk to him in a few minutes. What else have I got to tell you? All right, I'll tell you. Look, you know what's going on with me. You know what's happening. A lot of you are up to speed. Yeah, there's some bad stuff and mostly good stuff. Things are looking up. The patent troll thing is not a good thing, but I'm fighting that fight. I'm going to fight that good fight. I'm hoping other podcasters will fight the fight. We've made some stuff available to them to talk about. It's a real fight and it's a righteous fight, but that's not what I'm talking about. That's not why I'm smoking a cigar. Am I smoking a cigar because I'm going to be at Stand Up Live tonight in Phoenix, Arizona? No, not really. I mean, I'm excited about that, but I'm not smoking a cigar because of that. Well, actually, I'm just smoking the cigar because I want to smoke it. Hold on. Yeah. Am I smoking it because I'm going to be at 6th and I Synagogue in Washington, D.C., doing a Politics and Prose book event on June 11th? No, that's not it. I'll tell you what happened. I'll explain it to you. Again, it might not be what you think it is, but look, it was Jessica's birthday on Monday. Okay? So I wanted to do something nice for her birthday. We made reservations at the craft restaurant, Colicchio's restaurant. And I'd never been there before. She'd never been there before. But here's what I'll tell you. Here's what else I did. I woke up. I had a problem because I had to get her out of bed. And she wanted to be in bed, and she wanted breakfast in bed. And that's nice. Breakfast in bed is a nice thing. But I had something I had to do. So I wanted to make her pancakes. And I had this plan, and it wasn't working out. I had a plan for a very specific thing, and I didn't know, what to do. Well, okay, so I had the stuff to make her pancakes, so I made her some pancakes. And then I had to get her out of bed to serve her the pancakes for a reason. So I got her out of bed, and then I went into the bedroom after she got out of bed for a reason. And she asked me, why'd you go in the bedroom? I said, because I need to get something for my cock. That's what I said. So that's the preface of a very exciting event. I, stuck in the moment, said I had to get something for my cock from the bedroom. Then I went into the kitchen where I made her a short stack of pancakes, 3 of them. And in the middle of the top pancake, I stuck a diamond engagement ring right in the middle of that top pancake. a beauty, a beautiful ring. And I took those pancakes out and I set them on the table in front of her, and she had no idea. And she went, "What?" And she got all excited and started tearing up a little bit. And I got down on my knee and I said, "You want to get married?" And she says, "Are you asking me to marry you?" And I said, "Yes. Will you marry me?" And I squirted out a few tears, and she squirted out a few tears, and then we took the ring out, and I put it on her finger, and it burned her finger because the pancake was hot, so we had to take it off. I don't think that's an omen. I don't think it's a negative thing, a hot engagement ring from pancake. But eventually it cooled off, and we put it on. I put it on her finger. Now, the backstory to that, so I'm engaged. Okay, so I'm smoking a cigar. Not because I'm engaged because I had the cigar, but I'm engaged now. Some of you are like, "Oh, he's having a baby." No, I'm going old school. I asked her to marry me first. Doesn't mean I'm going to wait till to get married to have the baby. Nothing wrong with getting married to a pregnant person. I think it's kind of hot. It's kind of good. Good pictures. Memorable pictures. But what happened was, and I don't know if you can relate to this. Maybe you can. Hold on. Let me do a thing, and I'll tell you the rest of the story. What are we doing? I know what I'm doing. Our sponsor, LegalZoom, wants to help you launch your dream. I launched mine. I didn't know what I was launching it when I did, but I launched it right here in my garage. Small business people. I had no idea it was going to be a small business guy, but whatever. We made America, my friends. So whether you launch your dream in your garage or your office or your basement, LegalZoom helps you register trademarks. You can incorporate or form an LLC, and you can apply for copyrights with LegalZoom. Just go to LegalZoom.com, and they'll take care of you from start to finish. About 1 million businesses have already relied on LegalZoom, and WTF is just one of them. And for a limited time, get a special price on LegalZoom services by using the referral code MARON at checkout. Protect your creations and launch your dream at LegalZoom.com. And don't forget the fine print, folks. LegalZoom is not a law firm, but they can provide self-help services at your specific direction, or they can connect you to an attorney. That's LegalZoom.com. Don't forget to use that referral code MARON. So back to the story. So I think I told you Jessica wanted an engagement ring, so I took her out and we looked at rings, because there's no fucking way in hell I was going to buy that woman a ring based on my own judgment. All I know is that since I got Jessica that ring, I hear this a lot. "I love my ring, but I love you more. I love you more." It's the second thing she says, but it's okay. I get it. All right? It's not my first rodeo, but this is the best rodeo I've been at. So we go shopping for rings. She finds one she likes, and it's at a great store down on Beverly. What's it called? Want to Buy a Watch. My buddy Coop had bought an engagement there, ring there, and woman there, Christine, I think her name is. She does good stuff, and I trusted her. So we look at rings, and she finds one she likes, and she's like, "Oh my God, that's it. That's the magic ring. That's the magic one." And the woman who owns the place, she's like, "That is kind of a magic ring." I'm like, "Look, just relax." So then we go look at a couple other places. She doesn't see rings she likes, and I'm like, all right. So then we go home, and I know she likes that ring. That's the ring. And then she's bothering me for, not in a serious way, but she keeps holding up her hand, ring. I like, if you're going to get me a ring, I hope you got that ring, if you got that ring. And then it went away. This was weeks ago. She stopped talking about it. But look, I know what the situation I'm in. The day after I looked at that ring, I called that woman up and I said, "Hold that ring for me. What do I got to put down to hold that ring? Because if I'm going to do this, I need that one." So, basically, I bought the ring, and I brought it home, and I stuck it in my desk for 2.5 weeks. And during that 2.5 weeks, I just looked at Jessica. Every spare moment I had, I scrutinized her. That poor woman, I was sitting there just looking at him, and she's looking at me occasionally going, "What?" And I'm like, "Nothing." But I was going, am I going to marry her? I was looking for some reason not to. I was looking for things that she was doing that I was going to think, how the hell can I handle that my whole life? I was looking at her for some quirk of behavior that I hadn't noticed before, some disposition, some emotional flaw that was going to make the entire thing crumble down. And you know what? I couldn't find one. The day before I was going to propose, maybe 2 days before, I did have a moment where I'm like, holy shit, this room is never going to get cleaned up. She's just like this. What are you going to do, man? It's over. I'm not doing it. Then I sat here and I talked myself down and I said, what are you going to do, man? You love her. You care about her. What are you going to do? Have you ever loved somebody like this? Have you ever cared for somebody like this? Have you ever been this decent a man to anybody else? Have you ever had this much joy in your life from another person? And I speak to myself in this tone. And I add, you asshole, what are you going to do, Mark? What are you going to do? And my heart's like, I don't know, man. I'm nervous, and I can't really trust myself. I just, I've gotten in trouble before, and I'm still a little wounded, and I just don't know. Shut up, heart. Shut up. I'm taking you with me on this one. And I decided, and then I put that ring. I knew I was going to do it Monday morning, but I didn't know how. My idea was I was just going to put it in the bed, so she rolled over on it and said, "What's this?" And then pulled it out and go, "Oh my God!" And then I realized, I don't know. And I told Jonah Ray about that. He's like, "You're lucky you didn't do that. She might think you fucked somebody else in your bed," and they left a ring there. I'm like, "Well, that's not possible because she's always home right now. It's summer. She's not in school." So it didn't seem like a good way. Then the pancake idea hit me. The pancake idea. Stick that ring in the fucking pancake and deliver it to her. A hot ring. Well, no, I bought it, but it was hot. It was actually physical. You know what I'm saying. So that's it. That's the story. That's part one of what I think is going to be a long unfolding narrative, what I hope to be a very good story. But, you never know, do you? Right now, it's a good story. Hey, go to audiblepodcast.com/WTFpod for a free download on me. Hundreds of thousands. A little over 100,000 audio products that you can get here in the U.S. or Canada. And now's the time, right now, that I'm going to tell you a little something you can actually find on Audible if you have kids. Here's a good one. Go the fuck to sleep, as read by Samuel L. Jackson. And that was suggested by our listener, Christy Hughes, who wins a free copy of my audiobook, Attempting Normal, as read by me. Good call there. Nice one, Christy. I hope you enjoy my book. And, to double plug it, you can get both of my books at audible.com. You can get Jerusalem Syndrome, as read by me, and Attempting Normal, as read by me, at audiblepodcast.com/WTFpod. Dig that, friends. The other thing I wanted to hip you to is that I know I was talking about the patent troll business, and I'm in it, I have gotten threatening letters. The president is now on board. He's taking some executive actions against this heinous business of predatory scumbags who are shaking down people that can't afford to defend themselves against bogus patents that they've pushed through the system, that they retrofit onto anything they want. So fuck them. Fuck them. And thank you, President Barack Obama, for at least heightening awareness and taking some action. If you guys want to educate yourself on what me and Adam Carolla and Jesse Thorne, Sam Cedar, guys over at the Bugle, and others are going through, obviously Adam has been sued. I have not, but we're being shook down, terrorized, and threatened to fork over some bread. So listen to me. You can find information on this. I want you to educate yourself because it could happen to your business, could just happen to you for turning your fucking computer on. All right? So you should really check out NPR's Planet Money and Ira Glass's This American Life. They both did great shows on this patent troll, the one we're dealing with. They interviewed the guy. They interviewed me. You should listen to them and understand what we're really up against because this is real shit. And I might need your help in the future. Right now, we got a lot of things going on, but this is a decent fight. It's the right fight. Go to npr.org for Planet Money and thisamericanlife.org to hear those shows. Ira did 2 shows on patent trolls. It's fucking disgusting. What an abuse. What a misappropriation of capitalism. What fucking scumbags. Right now, it's my honor to bring to you an interview I did with Tommy Stinson, the bass player of The Replacements, one of the greatest rock and roll bands in the world ever. Paul Westerberg and the rest of them. The Replacements were great, and I miss them, quite frankly. So let's go and listen to me and Tommy Stinson. So your record was some sort of doorway in for me into what power pop was and into understanding that fucking music. Do you ever put that much thought into it? Like, this is a power pop record.
Nope. Guess it'll be a short interview. Questions like, nope.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no. And there's a lot of that. I mean, Big Star, perfect example of that kind of thing. Just chord structure. It's all the same crap, but it's just, twisting up a chord to make it something interesting, and give it, finding another voice in that makes your brain think of a different vocal melody. That's kind of how that works for me,
Yeah, and like Big Star, that's another example of like one of these seminal bands that never were huge.
Yeah.
And it's like it's heartbreaking, isn't it?
The fucking history of art has them, though.
Yeah.
Think of Van Gogh. If he didn't fucking know what he was doing. He's like, I'm a fucking painter, and this is what I do, and who gave a shit?
That's right. I'm doing this for the sake of doing this.
And so we'll all probably be famous when we're dead.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we hope. I don't know. I think you're pretty famous the way it is. Your guy sent me the Mutiny of One record.
Well, One Man Mutiny. One Man Mutiny. Yeah. It was a mutiny of one, definitely.
But I didn't have it. Now now I'm all up into vinyl, so I listen to that thing. That's a great fucking record.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
It's so exciting just to put on a record where you're like, and then like within the first two chords, I'm like, holy shit, this is it. I'm into this. Were you playing guitar on that?
I played most everything on it. There's a few songs I've got different drummers. My friend Gersh plays drums on some things. I think Frank played drums on a few things, two things. But most of it's me on guitar and bass and other weird stuff.
But it's just got that
filling in here and there.
It feels like there's an element to the way you play, and I think the way that the way where you come from, where it just feels like it's all just hanging together, and and it's just perfect. There's space in it. It feels raw. It feels like dudes playing music, having a good time.
The good part of that one that it's sort of a new staple for me is Uncle Sippy. Uncle Sippy's my guitar player, my slide player. It's my wife's uncle.
Yeah,
and he's great. He's he's come from the same school of like sort of haphazard music making. And, it's just sort of like on the verge of completely falling apart, or it's great.
Yeah. That's right where you want to be, right?
That's right on the cusp of something. I don't know what you're going to call it, but it's on the cusp of something that could be something good someday. But maybe when we're dead.
But wasn't that sort of the vibe? Like, I don't. When did you start playing with when did the Replacements officially happen?
I think officially happened in 1980.
And how old were you?
Let's see, 66, 76, 14, 15 years old.
That's crazy.
We made our first record, in 1980? Sorry, Ma, I think. 80, 81 maybe.
And you were like 15 years old?
Yeah.
And your brother?
Actually, I was a little younger than that for that one.
And how'd you get roped into that? I mean, how'd that all go down?
That bastard. No, he had come out of a group home scenario. He was in a lot of trouble as a kid.
Who, Bob?
Yeah, didn't like moving to Minneapolis. Wanted to stay in Florida where his guitar was and all his friends and shit. So he was rebellious and fucking tried to kill himself, all that stuff. Can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay. And when he came home from that whole
He's your half brother?
Yeah. Yep. He caught me monkeying around one of his guitars, his bass, actually up in his bedroom, and he asked me if I wanted to play it, and I was like, sure. Yeah. And then I started trying to play it, and it hurt. I wasn't into it.
Yeah.
And then he goes, no, keep playing it. I'll buy you a candy bar. And then it was like, I'll buy you a Coke. And then when it hurt my fingers, I wanted to quit. And I'd start crying. I had upped the ante, and I kind of bribed him. So what he got out of it was a bass player. What I got out of it, it's fucking, a bunch of candy and
a career in music.
Yeah. And then, of course, it cuts to, and I actually had a therapist tell me once, going through some stuff I was going through that, because I'd always talked about my mother and how my mother, really kind of, kept it together for us, as, under the, stuff that she knew and the best she could do it with and that. And I had a therapist tell me, it's really your brother that actually saved your ass. It wasn't really your mom. Your brother was the one that said, I'm going to get you out of here. And that's why he showed, she put it to me that way in terms of, that's why he showed you how to play bass. He wants you to get the fuck out of that stuff.
Well, what was going on?
We just grew up, in a fucking alcoholic family, just had the whole nine of just, growing up in a, sort of an unstable, survivalist kind of, lifestyle as little kids, And
it was up in Minnesota?
Yeah.
And your old man, like, Bob is your half-brother, so you share a dad?
No, we shared my mom, that's it.
Yeah.
His father was, from Minnesota. My father was actually, I think my mom met him in California and moved to Florida with him. They never married, so I'm an original bastard.
Yeah.
As my little sisters.
Florida's always a weird choice. If you end up in Florida and you're not old, there's something
I have my friend Danny Murphy, man, from Soul Asylum.
Yeah.
He's into Florida, and I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, you're not that old, brother.
Yeah.
You're just not. You're not.
But it's a freak show. You start to appreciate it. It's like a free for all down there. It's the wild fucking West half the time. Yeah.
He likes it down there. I mean, he's got this little community, he hangs out, and he's got a beautiful apartment with like all the best, vintage, Art Deco trimmings involved, and it's really great.
So he's doing high end Florida. So
Yeah.
So Bob drags you into the base, and he got you off the streets, kind of.
He did, because I had been to jail 3 times by that time already.
For what?
Stealing shit.
Yeah.
Running away.
Yeah.
Doing bullshit.
And he was
breaking in houses and shit.
Oh, really?
Fucking I was just a creepy little kid.
But wasn't Bob sort of half a criminal too?
Yeah, he was half a criminal. And then I got in the band, and then we were both completely criminal. But that's a whole nother story.
And then when did Paul come along?
Paul came along, we met up with Chris because Chris was... See, Bob was dating my friend's sister who lived next door to Chris.
Yeah.
And Andy Olson, God, she was batshit.
Yeah.
My God.
Everyone's batshit.
Oh, man, they were...
All the good ones are batshit.
Yeah, that wasn't a good one. And Chris came along first, and Chris knew if Paul lived down the street and played guitar, and, they all kind of fell together like that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And in terms of, like, just the reputation you guys had for just fucking off, how did that unfold?
We just kind of went with our flow.
Yeah?
Our flow was not real good. It was, young and crazy and sort of all fucking broken kids. I mean, all of us come from a broken background, just sort of, one thing or another, alcoholism, abusive, childhoods, whatever,
Yeah.
And, I guess it kind of breeds crazy people.
And when you guys were working out songs and writing songs, I mean, was it a group effort? Because I know that, like, Westerberg, I don't know much about him. I've listened to a lot of his records. I know things. I don't know how they ended. Maybe we can talk about that. But a lot of people think that you and Bobby were like the driving forces of that thing.
Early on, I think he kind of took over the songwriting before we were in the Replacements. Like, he came in when we kind of had this singer guy.
Who was that guy?
Oh, God. What the hell was his name? I can't even remember. So long ago.
Like classic teenage singer guy?
Yeah.
Like,
no, he wasn't even a good singer or nothing. He was just a friend of a friend that sold weed, and
that guy.
Yeah. He was that guy for sure. Paul kind of, came in with some songs and kind of moved him out. So he kind of had a few things up his sleeve when he came in. And from there on, the way the songwriting went down, we'd hash things out. And I guess as history would show, some of that stuff he gave us credit for, some of the stuff, he just considered he wrote on his own. And there was really no talking about it. We didn't really sit down and go, hey, well, I wrote, the bass line for that song or whatever. Because really, no one really knew anything about what the fuck we were doing, except this is what we're doing here. We're just going to do this.
Right.
Get in a van, go play a gig, get drunk, go back. I mean, it was like, whatever. But,
And so, like, when you guys started to record, where'd you start to record? Where were the first?
There was a friend of ours, that was actually more of a friend of Paul's, that had a little recording rig that we kind of used out in this ballroom for the first demos or whatever.
4-track?
I think it was a 4-track, some kind of a tape, like reel-to-reel thing or some shit, but
Really?
old school stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where the first demos came from. And then after that, when we did Sorry Ma, we did at a place called Blackberry Way Studios, which was it was all the way on the other side of town by the university, northeast Minneapolis, and we made like the first 4 records there.
And what label were they on?
Twin Tone Records, which...
and that was in Minneapolis?
Mm-hmm, yeah, local Minneapolis record company.
Who were the other guys? Who screwed you on there too?
No, they were SST.
Right, that's right.
Soul Asylum, The Suburbs, Suicide Commandos run. There were a load of like Minneapolis bands that... A lot of their names I'm blanking on right now, but there was a bunch of them. And they had a record before we put our stuff out called Big Hits in Mid-America, I think Volume 2 or something like that. And it was a compilation of, it was two LPs with The Suburbs, courtesy all these local bands on it. And they had enough success with that to kind of launch, more of a record company thing after that. And slowly built it up. Twin Tone actually lasted for a pretty decent amount of time for a little indie label from Shitbagville.
And I'm wondering, how the fuck can I replace or find again. Like I'm replacing vinyls that I don't know what happened to, and no one's reissued Let It Be.
Yeah, they have. Warner Brothers.
Did they?
Warner Brothers reissued all of our records because what happened was Twin Tone got bought up by another company and by another company, and the catalog got bought up by Rykodisc at some point, and then Rykodisc got bought out by Warner Brothers. So now all our Warner Brothers records and the Twin Tone records are all distributed through, in effect, Warner Brothers. So they did a repackaging. I did some remixes of some outtakes and shit, about...
From Let It Be?
From all the early Twin Tone records.
And how do you approach that when you do? Like, because I always wonder that. Like, because, is there any party that thinks, like, no, this sounds shitty, but that's the way it's supposed to be?
Yeah, it was funny. I had to pull this stuff up in a digital format because it was all done on fucking 8-track, and I think Let It Be might have been 18 tracks or something. But I had to pull this stuff up in the digital realm, so it all had to be dumped down into the digital realm, so I could do exactly that, listen to it, and kind of come up with some of the outtakes. And the earlier record, like Twin Tone, like Saruman stuff, had more outtakes than the later records because as we started touring and shit, there was less time to sit and write songs and shit. But it was interesting, Some of it sounded bleak, and then there's some of it that I was listening to like a
bleak in tone, or just bleak in the way they were produced.
No, just cruddy. And they didn't transfer very well either, so that had to be dealt with a little bit too. But it was funny to pull up Paul's guitar and Bob's guitar and solo them up and listen to them, how they actually played off of each other, which I'm sitting there in my studio, this is like almost 6 or 7 years ago now, I'm sitting there listening to this going, man, like they really played off each other, and I don't even fucking think they knew it. I think they were both we're just playing, and you put them up together, and they sounded great together. Like they're really bouncing off each other and shit. And I was like, God, this is kind of like what you hear the Stones do. And they had it wasn't even a concentrated effort.
It was innate.
It was just there.
Yeah. Well, that's fucking awesome, man.
Oh, it was killer to pull that stuff, and it was... young and just slamming it out. And, there was a few extra songs that I had to remix with my buddy Philip Broussard, and all night they put all that stuff on vinyl and, CD. So you can get that stuff reissued on pretty decent sounding vinyl on Warner Brothers. I don't know if it's still, you might have to eBay it or some shit. But.
Right. So that was like 7 years ago?
My timetable might be wrong. It might have been sooner.
Oh, I know.
It might have been 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah.
He's got it down the street for $30, and I'm like, really?
For Let It Be, like a Warner Brothers version, or like an original?
It must be an original.
But an original Twin Tone version would probably be more than that. I think. Yeah. It must be the Warner Brothers one, and then I think they only did a limited run of the vinyl. I'm not exactly sure.
Oh, yeah,
I can call someone and find out for you.
I'll
if you really give a shit,
I'll do the research. Well, I just picked up Tim on vinyl, and I had that, and I don't know what the hell happened to my records, but now that seems to be the current midlife crisis of choice for people in their late 40s and early 50s is to like, I need my records again. I need a tube amp. So
I've been looking for a good stereo, man. Check me out. I'm so used to sitting in my damn studio, listening to stuff and and recording that way, and I don't even have a decent stereo.
I ended up buying a Rogue Audio. They're out of Pennsylvania. It's a tube. I'll show it to you after.
Yeah,
it's a tube amp. It's got nothing, man. It's got a built-in phono preamp, but it's got no tone control. So it's just volume balanced tubes.
Cool.
And you just run the turntable into that, and that's it. The sound that comes out is the sound you get. Turn it up or turn it down. That's it.
Wow. So there's no imaging on that.
No.
That's awesome.
It is pretty awesome.
That's kind of what I'm looking for. And I've been, my oldest daughter works for John Barbados, and in the shop in the Bowery.
Yeah.
He's got all these Macintosh, old stuff, and it's it's actually not that expensive for this stuff anyway. But I just, I don't know what's good. What is good? What's a good stereo now?
Whatever you get off on. It's a rabbit hole, dude. I interviewed Jack White. It fucking never ends, man. This whole thing started with me. I go down to Nashville and I interview Jack, and he's got a wall of fucking Macintosh. So I'm thinking hey, he's got a wall of those. How much could it cost? So I go price Macintosh. I'm like, that's too fucking much.
Yeah.
I can't spend $15,000 on a fucking amp Yeah, because I'll never enjoy it. Because then you'll just sit there and be like, "Does this sound like $15,000?" I don't fucking
You
think
start listening to your records differently. Go, I think it used to sound better when I played it in my car.
That's right.
And
that's right.
That's the innate problem with any stereo I've had. Is that, I've had people give me cool stuff and it's supposed to sound great.
Yeah.
I just go, fuck, it sounds better in the Ford.
Yeah,
you know?
on the radio.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's the big
But you're
problem.
saying the Rogue Power Amp is the way to go. What do you got for speakers? Anything good?
Yeah, they're called, they're Sonus Toy Towers. They were Italian made. I just went to a place. I finally just like, I don't know.
Is that the shit I just walked through?
Yeah.
Okay, stuff I just saw in your living
I'll
room.
play you some on there
Right.
afterwards. So when you're listening...
Play me my record. I'd love to hear what it sounds like on an actual stereo.
Okay, I'll do it. I got it right there.
I haven't heard it.
I got it right there.
Killer.
Awesome. So you're listening to Bob and Paul play off each other, and you're the one holding the backbone of the thing together. But like it seemed like Bob, like he was one of those guys who like his rhythm was all lead. Am I right? Like
he played his part, and then he would start his solo before the solo came in, and he would just
just go.
Woo!
And was he like he's one of these great rock and roll mythic madmen? Was he?
I love that. That's exactly my brother.
Yeah, I mean, he was just balls to the wall all the way through?
He was 0 to 1,000 pretty much at all points of the day. Like he wouldn't. It's the only guy I ever saw walk down the street during the dead of winter and simultaneously drink a 40-ounce and piss at the same time while still walking down the street. Now, I mean, he'd just be pull the dick out. He'd just be drinking, pissing, walking, talking. It's like, what are you doing over there? It's like, I gotta piss. Not even stop,
Yeah.
Killer.
And when the Replacements were like, because it was, you guys were really, you guys sort of defined American punk. That wasn't punk rock, but it was like the spirit of the thing. And then people sort of credit you for you being like the quintessential indie rock band. But you guys were just a fucking rock band. You had no consciousness of that shit, right?
No, I mean, we kind of got, during the hardcore, stink era or whatever, we got kind of limped into playing shows with like, Circle Jerks and Black Flag and shit like that. And we, I don't think there was ever any intent on Paul or my brother's, behalf to try and be a hardcore band. We just played things fast, and that was kind of our bit. And as time went on, it got to be, too much work to keep playing shit that fast. And so, the song, you can hear the songwriting kind of evolve into more, a little more complex structures and things like that, and kind of, and a little more soul as opposed to speed.
Right.
A
little more melody.
Yeah, more melody and more, more of a, we kind of grew from that. It's like if we'd gotten lumped into that, we would have just gotten pigeonholed and we would have gotten stuck. Whereas we just said, fuck it. And unconsciously, we got to kind of grow from that. And Paul's songwriting got to grow from that as well. And that's the best thing that really could have happened to us, is that we were able to do that.
Chose to slow down.
Well, not even chose to slow down. It was just, the songwriting evolved. We evolved. We evolved until a point where my brother wasn't able to evolve, sadly. And that's why we had to get rid of that, had to fire him, essentially. But, we instead, a lot of bands at that time were like, they stayed their course, and as bands do now, they try and recreate the same hit they had 2 years ago, whatever. And, there's just, that never works. You get your vibe by exploring and trying new things and always, trying to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. And I think we kind of had our chance to do that. And the problem with that is the record industry really wasn't on, into that scene either. They kind of wanted to mold us a bit, and we were unmoldable.
Right,
we were.
But you kept your sound. It's weird because if you listen even to the evolution of all the Replacements albums, the lyrics and the sort of tone of it is uniquely yours.
Yeah.
But that's not enough for a record company. They're looking for one hit, and then they want you to write that hit 10 times on a record.
Yeah. And that's not to say we didn't have any hits, because I think what happened when we might have possibly had a hit, we, fucking flipped the fucking finger to the fucking record company and pissed them off, I don't think we're the easiest people to work with, is kind of what that comes down to.
When do you remember that first happening, where you were like...
Oh, we got signed to Warner Brothers, and...
After which record?
Before Tim, and then...
So right after Let It Be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we make Tim, and they're willing to have a little meeting and fucking talk about how they're going to help our career, and we just fucking lock ourselves in a room and get hammered, you know. That's what basically it.
But for that reason.
Yeah, it's like, we're just going to sit in here and fucking be idiots that we were.
Do you regret that?
No. No, you know what? We did what we did, and it's part of what became the history. I mean, I don't think we could have done it any different. We saw firsthand how bands like REM were able to play the game, how they were able to kind of handshake with the devil, basically, that we just couldn't do. We couldn't conform to any of those standards or any of those, sort of ideals that they had, that they wanted us to do and the way they wanted us to be. I remember one time they, I can't remember who it was that sat us down to show us a video of Metallica's, what's that song, One?
Yeah.
They showed us, they're trying to get us, we're getting ready to go make a video. I can't remember what record it was, but they're showing this, check out this video. This is fucking huge. It's Metallica. And we're watching this thing. And we're just going, what the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, we just like walked out of there scratching our head back to the bar like, fuck these people. What in the hell are they talking about? Had nothing to do with us. In hindsight, I can look back and go, yeah, they're just trying to show us, like, the kind of, check this out, this director, something along those lines. But
yeah.
But what they did, in effect, was just completely turn us off to anything they had to say about anything.
And it implied they didn't understand you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of was that way. I mean, we did our best, I think. I mean, I'll say, I think we did our best to try and to play along as far as like press and stuff like that. We did all the press, they fucking threw at us, and all the radio that would have us, which wasn't much, due to the nature of our beast, I think. But, I think it's a two-pronged thing. I think part of it is we weren't able to work the game, like our some of our peers, and I think that the game didn't want to play us either.
Well, you and Dave Perner go way back, right?
Yeah, we go back to high school.
Well, I mean, that's a good example of a dude. Like, I knew the dude briefly, the dude who signed them originally. I think Benji, what's his name?
Benji Gordon.
I knew
that was
him
the
briefly.
third record deal they had or whatever. But.
Right. I knew him briefly at a different point in my life. But that was sort of a thing that they had to contend with, too, is that they had that huge record. Yeah. And then I imagine that he had to sort of deal with that. How come you're not making that record again?
No, I've heard the story from Dave about it. It's like, and Danny, it's like, they did Grave Dancers Union, sold a shit ton of records, and fucking a big old success. They make the record after that, only sells 1 million records, and they're like, okay, now we're going to drop you. It's like, well, we just sold 1 million fucking records. Like, what's wrong with you? Well, it's not enough. It's like, well, what do you mean that ain't enough? It's fucking 1 million records.
1 million records.
What the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, and all those kind of fucking people, they ain't fucking, Benji's and works for MTV now, apparently, but all these fucking people that were the ones, that were fucking, holding the fucking powers that be back then, they're all fucking, they don't have jobs anymore.
No, the A&R guys are done.
And it fucking warms the cockles of my heart. Only fucking people I care about that have any goddamn knowledge of music are that really fucking care and are totally just music people are still there doing it. Peter Jesperson's a great example of that. He signed the replacements, we're kids. He's still working in the business and he still just loves fucking music. He's a perfect example of that,
Well, back in the day, I mean, there were people that were fortunate enough to see you guys live in your heyday, and that was like that was the thing that people be like, "Do you ever see the Mats live?" I'm like, no, I missed the whole fucking thing, and that was the shit because we just never knew it was going to happen.
That was the shit a lot of times, yeah, for sure.
What was it? It was completely unpredictable, huh?
Yeah. It's taken a while for me to get over it. When I first moved to L.A., it was really weird. I was all creeped out.
When was this?
93. When I first got out here, I'd go to clubs and stuff, and I'd have these people come up to me, and I was still getting over the whole Matt's fan crazy stuff, and it was like, people would walk up and approach me, and I'd just kind of shake them, like, what do you want? What are you doing to me? Yeah, and people would come up to me like, man, you fucking played the best show I ever saw in my whole life, man. You guys didn't play one of your own songs. It was great. I'm just thinking, man, you were fucking robbed, and you don't even fucking know it, But, whatever, man. They bought it.
You would do all covers sometimes?
More than once.
Like, I know you did Another Girl, Another Planet. Yeah. I heard that one, but what other covers were the ones you liked doing?
Oh, man, we did all kinds of just I mean, shit, it's the fans.
Stones? Did you do Stones?
We did Stone stuff. We did just anything we felt like doing at a moment's notice. I remember we were opening for Tom Petty one time, and we did Whipping Post and it was just kind of Paul sang his ass off, and it was great. But I'm like, what the fuck are we doing, man? Yeah, it's fucking.
You just wing it? You would never rehearse
He just started playing it.
Who did, Bob?
Paul. Yeah, Bob was gone at this point, but yeah, it was just, we were just a hair,
Well,
wild hair.
He's a great example. Tom Petty is a guy that, I think that for a lot of years made roughly the same record, or the same sound. I mean, I love him. I love all his records, but it didn't seem like till way after he sold 1 billion records that he was like, fuck it, I'm going to do what I want, you know? Did you have a good time with him? Did you guys get to know him at all?
Yeah, he's a good guy. I mean, when we met him, I remember talking to him one time. He just was telling me, he loves making records, loves writing. He just hated touring.
Oh,
he
really?
He was like, God, I hate having to leave home. I mean, and shit, now that I'm 46 years old, I get it. I'm fucking sick to death of fucking airports and everything else, but...
you don't live in L.A. anymore, right?
No, I live in upstate New York now. But the traveling, all the aspects of traveling, they've gotten to be old and tiresome.
Sure,
at my age,
Yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't mean I'm gonna stop anytime soon. It just means I'm gonna fucking have to
complain about it.
Complain about it.
Yeah, I got to go to Columbus tomorrow morning.
Good luck with that, dude. Columbus, yeah.
6 o'clock flight, man. I'm doing Cincinnati and then Columbus.
Nice.
Good times.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
Columbus used to be a kind of a cool little scene back in the day, in the 80s. Yeah, it had a good little vibe. The little rock club there, Stashes, I think it was. It was kind
good?
of a cool vibe. Yeah.
Did you guys play Boston and play the Rat and do all that shit?
All that crap.
Yeah.
Boston was kind of our first home away from home. I mean, that was the first
big
place.
Scene, man.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was fun. Fun town back then.
So your brother, the last record he was on was Tim?
Yep.
And then how'd that shit hit the fan?
Well, it kind of came down to Paul sitting us down and saying, I really like, I either want to quit the band or I can't play with Bob anymore. It's like I like playing with you two guys, but I can't play with him anymore. Because Bob really at that point was sort of a loose cannon and he drug and alcohol problems were starting to get really out of hand, and we actually put him through treatment that didn't take, and just had to kind of move on, and it was kind of it was a bummer, but we also at the same time were like, well, we like playing with you too, so I guess my brother's got to go, and it kind of had to happen,
Yeah, and did you ultimately, sound wise, did you miss him?
We always missed him. I think even Paul always did, but it was like. I think at that point, it was, it was after Tim, and it just got to be like, shit, this is becoming more of something I really want to do. I think the realization that, came into that is like, well, this isn't just us fucking around anymore, just goofing around making records. This is what we're doing now. We want to, and so if we want to do that and continue to go and make records and, do this for real, we got to, we can't do it that way.
Right.
Not that we changed a whole lot, but it was as a degree of over the top that he went that we just couldn't do with anymore.
And then the next couple records, how did Tim and then Pleased to Meet Me and Don't Tell, how'd they all sell?
I think that Pleased to Meet Me might be the bigger seller of those. I'm not sure exactly. I think Benny pulled it up the other day, and I was saying something to the effect of, Pleased to Meet Me. As far as SoundScan goes, I don't really know before SoundScan, so there's a big gray area there.
Right.
How many records were sold or not? But yeah.
And then how many band changes did you go through? Who took your brother's place?
Well, Slim Dunlop took my brother's place, and he played on pretty much the rest of the records after Tim.
And did he play like your brother?
No, completely opposite. He was very much more of a careful kind of, melodic guitar player. I mean, he didn't walk the same walk.
Yeah, and he's ill now.
Yeah, he's sadly he had a series of strokes last year that have left him in pretty rough shape. He's not able to play guitar. He's kind of I think it's his left side that's kind of is still trying to recover from it. And recently we did a Songs for Slim EP. Paul and I and Chris kind of got together not as a replacement, the three of us, but Paul and I recorded some songs.
How was that?
With some guys. Oh, it was a lot of fun. We did one of Slim's songs, and we did 4 other covers, and then Chris did one of Slim's songs at his studio, and we put that in there together and made an EP out of it, and we just auctioned them off. We made them like $105,000, out of 250, 10 inches made. Yeah, and they're all numbered and stuff. It's kind of a cool thing. But it kind of starts the ball rolling. There's going to be some more of those with other groups, like Steve Earle did a track.
Steve Earle.
With some, a bunch of other people, like different A and B sides, different artists and all that. And there's going to be a series of them throughout the year that are all going to go to benefit him because he's going to need a lot of money to get, to offset the out-of-pocket, rehab costs and all that. Sure,
but he's kind of functioning.
He's kind of functioning. He's slowly, making progress, and hopefully he'll make more progress as time goes along,
Isn't it fucking wild? I mean, I can't imagine just being from your side of it, just, the taxing life and the amount of casualties there are in fucking rock and roll in terms of people, they don't make it to 60 or they run into trouble and
and it's so weird. You
never got strung out?
No. Well, I've had my bouts of shit and I don't think I ever really had a full-on, drug problem necessarily.
Yeah.
But, I've never, luckily, I'm still here. It doesn't mean I'm not going to pop off tomorrow. Could fucking die in my sleep tonight, who knows. But, it is weird. There's no rhyme or reason other than it's kind of a hard-living kind of occupation. It's not one that's, I recommend.
Yeah, yeah. If you had it, when you look back on it, do you wish you'd done something else? Or?
I wish I'd done things better.
Yeah. In terms of labels and everything else, how much bitterness do you have about that?
I don't really have any. I think back and I'm actually, when I get nostalgic about it, I'm actually just proud and stoked that I was there. We did our little thing. We left a little mark there for people to look at and go listen to and fucking yap about whatever. And I think it's, it's cool. Not a lot of bands get to do that. Even bands that make big records don't actually make the fucking history books.
That's right.
People forget about you. So I think that's kind of I think we left our little mark. So that's cool, and the business was what it was, and there's no changing any of that. So why bother complaining about it?
Yeah, yeah. And in terms of...
I like what I do now. I do all kinds of different crap now, and I've got the freedom to do it because I was lucky enough to make it to 46 and be still doing stuff.
And you still honor... it seems like you still honor the sound that you love. That you've evolved as a songwriter and as a player, but you still do... you can still hear where you come from in your music.
You can't really shake that shit, though. You know what? It's ingrained in you.
Yeah, yeah. Which songs do you think should have been fucking huge songs that weren't?
Wow.
Which ones do you think, I can't fucking believe that song didn't take off?
There's a bunch of them, really. If I think back on it, Left of the Dial, I always thought was a really great song, and Bastards of Young, I thought was a really great song.
Yeah.
Merry Go Round, I was surprised that didn't, do something of such a...
Do you think that was that was a record company's fault and radio play and just the politics of shit?
I don't. I think it's we were what we were, and we're at where we're at, and
that was that.
That was it. There's really, I think a lot of guys could sit here and spin all kinds of fucking
theories,
all kinds of theories and ideas. I don't buy into it. I think it's what it was. I think we probably could have, like I said, we could have played the game better probably and sold some more records by doing that. But I don't think it would have changed anything. I don't think we would have lost our soul a little more, And
how'd the breakup go down exactly? How'd you decide?
Honestly, we never really broke up.
Yeah.
We just kind of walked away from it, and left it kind of sitting on the bus, after that last Grant Park gig, and just left it sitting there. It's probably still floating out there somewhere. The ghost of the Replacements still lingering somewhere out there.
So there was no heartbreak involved or any of that, and fighting?
No. There really wasn't. I think, on the last record, Paul was kind of already indicating that he wanted to kind of have more, not more control, but wanted to get more involved in the producing of that record because he had some ideas he wanted to explore. And it's like...
On Don't Tell a Soul?
Yeah, no, on the last record, All Shook Down.
Yeah.
Which I was totally down with. I think in hindsight, I think we were with the three of us, really, me and Chris, I think, were kind of backing it until it really started to happen. And I don't think Chris really liked that someone else was playing drums on stuff. I think that kind of screwed with him a little bit. And I know a bunch of bass players came in and played different things on different songs, or tried to anyway, which I was cool with, because if you listen back to all the Stones records, there's all kinds of different people playing on shit that you think it's the Stones, and like, no man, that's not even Charlie on drums. That's fucking the producer.
Yeah,
you know,
Bill's been gone for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. So I was kind of down with it, and as it turned out, a lot of the bass parts that other people played didn't work out anyway, so I had to go play them anyway. So But
so no bad blood, really.
No. I mean, it was with Chris a little bit, and it's time has healed that one a bit, I think. And he just didn't want to play the drum parts the way they were on the record that he didn't play on. He was not down with that. It's like, well, but that's the way the song goes, whether you played it or not. I mean, shit, Charlie goes out and plays all these fucking songs. Hey, do you not get that? And he didn't really like that. And so that kind of was that was not the total caveat. There were things that were happening, but other than Chris, leaving the band, I mean, Paul and I never really,
Yeah. You guys
we were probably more ready to kill each other early days than the end,
Yeah, over what?
Just, stupid shit. Yeah. I think I tried to quit the band like on our first tour because they were so fucked up, and I was just a kid. I'm like, you guys suck. and instead of quitting the band, I joined the party. Sadly.
And you still talk to Paul?
Yeah.
That's cool. He's doing all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're always going to chat about crap. We're always going to play together in some fashion.
And when you came out here after the Mats got done, what was the expectation? I mean, was the first record Bash and Pop?
Yeah. I mean, I think we left it kind of like, I'm going to go do my thing now, and you go do your thing, and whatever that is, we'll see each other someday. I played on, I think almost all of his solo records in some way or another. He'd call me up and just,
Westerberg's?
Yeah. He'd call me up. Hey, what are you doing? Want to come play a song? Yeah, sure. Why not?
But he was still in Minnesota?
No, he'd call me because he did most of his records after the Mats out here.
Yeah.
And so he'd call me when he was here and have me come goof off just to bring some vibe.
And when you moved here, what was the plan?
Well, my plan when I moved here was to kind of get more on the record company to try and help what my little cause was, which is that Bash and Pop record, because I knew that, bands that break up, their solo records afterwards, don't really have much of a chance as it is. So I thought, well, from Minneapolis, I'm not going to be able to cut this so well, so I got to get out and kind of in it. I'd kind of fallen for another lady, which was part of the thing as well.
That's always a motivator.
Yeah, kind of. Had that going for me.
Yeah,
and I kind of wanted to, thought if I moved out here and kind of rode the company a little bit, I might get somewhere with that. And what I found is that wasn't going to happen. They were just. It was exactly as I thought. I made my record, and in fact, instead of sticking it out and getting, having them let me make another record that they do nothing with, I actually asked to be, to get off the label, and they let me go.
And then you left L.A.?
No, I stayed here for 17 years. I was just talking to him about it. It's like, God, I lived here 17 years. Jesus.
And you were playing on a lot of other people's records, or?
I played on some other stuff. I did sessions now and again, and then joined Guns N' Roses in '98.
So it's been that long already, huh?
Yeah.
So you've been there longer than the original bass player.
Yeah. What's wrong with me?
Look, man, I mean, all I know is I'm trying to get you here, and they're like, okay, he's coming out, and then you get the next email, like, it's not clear whether he's coming out. Then the next email, it's like, yeah, it looks like he's coming out, but we got to wait to hear from Axl, and then the next email, okay, we're doing it.
Well, what happened, it was supposed to be a stripped-down show, and I wasn't sure if I was even going to be needed on it. It was going to be that stripped down. Maybe just the guitar players would do it. And then it just kind of kept coming back and forth. And then the venue changed. And it was like, no, you got to come out now. It's like, okay.
Where's it going to be?
It's at the Soho House. It's for some Tommy Hilfiger party. I'm not sure exactly anything more than that, except it's kind of a one-off.
You're just going to show up?
Yeah. You know what, man? I'm just going to show up. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to show up.
Yeah. Oh God. So okay. So you toured You toured a lot with Guns N' Roses then. So
Yeah, I've been all over the world, and the world has been all over me.
Which GNR records that you're on Chinese Democracy?
Yeah.
But what other ones?
That's it. That's the only one we've made in the whole 15, 16, 17 years I've been in the band.
So, but you can play
15.
you can play the catalog.
Yeah.
And you go out like what? I mean,
In my sleep.
Yeah. But why is it that he can find he can find it in himself to tour everywhere but here?
Well, we toured the States. We did a bunch of that, like 2010.
Oh, so okay, so
Yeah.
you did a bunch of that.
And some other stuff in I think 06 or something like that.
And who's on guitar now?
There's a bunch of them. There's like 20 guitar players. No, there's Richard Fortas, Bumblefoot, and DJ Ashba. And they all swap back bits.
And so there's no none of the original guys.
Dizzy Reed
Yeah.
on keyboards.
And you play with him as well sometimes.
Yeah, I have Dizzy. I've had Richard, Dizzy, Frank Ferrer play on my stuff.
And do you I always wonder this about bands. I mean, do you guys talk? What happened to Izzy Stradlin? I mean, where's
No, we see him. He comes out once in a while and plays with us.
Yeah?
He's a totally great guy. Yeah, he's a funny dude, man.
He's a great player. He's kind of Keithy, kind of.
Yeah,
like,
you should check out his new record. He played us when we just saw him recently. God, where did we see him? We saw him in Vegas. He came out and he played us a couple songs from his new stuff. He's got like Rick Richards from the Georgia Satellites playing with them. He's got the same. I think it's the same band as the Juju Hounds he had going on. But his new stuff sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he made like an EP. You know, just did out of it on his own, little video clip of him and the guys just playing in the studio. It's great.
Now, when you deal with Axl, I mean, you see, like in my mind, because my buddy Jonathan was a bass player, that bass players are fairly diplomatic, and they're kind of they know how to handle the egos of front guys to some degree.
Oh, the things I could say.
Well,
The things I keep inside me.
I'd encourage you to say some of those.
No, I just, you know what? Guitar players are a pain in the ass. Whatever. All of them are. Every fucking one of them.
Have you been able to identify what causes it?
Fucking 6 strings, brother. You got 6 strings, you got a fucking pain in the ass. Sorry. That's the rules of the road, buddy.
What about lead singers?
You got a microphone, you're a pain in the ass. No,
Yeah, but it's a good gig for you. But I mean, he's an odd bird. I mean, Axl is, anyways.
You know what, though? The fucking most amazing thing about this guy, about playing with him, is that he gets up there and fucking does a fucking 1,000% of what he's got every time he shows up, and fucking people come out in the fucking thousands all over the fucking world to see that. And it's, I think we put on a good show for him, and stuff. But when you really think about it, it's kind of all about Axl. And I'm just going to be honest about that. And it just it amazes me just how rabid they are to see him up there doing his thing. And he puts on a fucking great show. So
he's a great singer.
Yeah.
Great rock singer.
I think he's probably a better singer now than he probably was back in the day, 'cause I think he's gotten more used to working with his, voice and stuff like that. I think he's a lot stronger in a lot of ways.
And in terms of like his erratic behavior, is it just insecurity or perfectionism? Or,
I don't think he's as erratic as people think. I think he's just real, and you just don't know. It's like he runs on his own feel, man.
Yeah.
He does his thing the way he does it, and that's all he's doing.
So with a gig like this, it's a private function. It's like you don't know who the other players are going to be necessarily. You just know.
No, I know it's going to be the band, just kind of stripped down. With acoustic guitars and fucking congas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there might be a didgeridoo in there or something. I don't know. We'll see. Fucking egg shaker.
Yeah, you just never know. So, in terms of like living in Hudson, how long you been out of here?
I've been out of here 3 years. I think I moved. I don't know. Yeah, it must have been 3 years ago that I moved back east. I left a really great supporting cast of friends here that I miss dearly every day. But it came a point when all my friends were, starting to have kids and get busy with their jobs and things like that. And I'd done everything I could do out here in my mind that pertained to, my future musically and things like that. And I just thought, this place is getting so goddamn expensive. I'm bleeding money trying to just, record and live. I'm like, I got to get out of here. And it really kind of came down to that. It's like when you start looking at, okay, I can afford to buy a house now, and you're looking at a, 1,500 square foot house in a crap neighborhood for $700,000, you kind of go, you know what, I got to get out of here. It's just a little bit much. And I just, I knew that I needed to have a place to live. I needed a place to record and set up my stuff so that I could keep making music, because really that's all I do. I don't really, I do other things within and around music, that interest me and stuff, like cooking and stuff like that even, but it really comes down to I have to have a place to work. Otherwise I can't do what is now my work.
Yeah.
So,
I've been up there. I had a friend who, Louis C.K. used to have a place up there. I don't think he has it anymore.
That guy is funny as shit.
Yeah. He got a place in Hudson, I think,
I just
a
saw
great
him,
deal.
Yeah.
Where you just saw him.
I just saw some special he was on, and God, you just fucking. My wife and I were watching it. We were just fucking rolling.
Yeah. He's hilarious. But it's a beautiful area up there.
Yeah. Oh, we got. You know what? We moved up there, and we got. It's for all intents and purposes, it's a great sort of gay art music community. Really great people, real diverse. A lot of real talented people, and it's just this weird little 1 mile by 1 mile strip on the Hudson River.
Yeah.
But, we've really grown to love it, and, I got all my shit set up so I can do what I got to do.
How many kids you got?
I have a 23-year-old and I have a 5-year-old.
You got a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So
I like to keep it interesting, Mark.
Yeah.
Come on.
And the 23-year-old's out.
Yeah.
She's in the big city.
She's living in the Big Apple. She's fucking She's working her ass off. Kids got the world by the balls already.
And you get along?
Yeah. No, we love each other.
That's
my kids, my big baby.
And your mom, she's still around?
Well, my mom?
Your mom, yeah.
My mom is still around, yeah.
And does she come out?
Yeah, her and her husband just came out, in October.
Wow. It's so weird, when you talk to rock dudes, you're just like, what is their life? Yeah,
dude, I wake up and I jump into both pant legs at the same time.
Yeah. Have some coffee. Yeah.
I put on my beer hat and I go at it.
How long's your brother been gone now?
He died in 94, I believe. 94.
In the circumstances that surrounded that, he just gotten away from everybody?
No, what happened to my brother, I mean, he abused himself pretty good during the end there, and what happened was he finally sobered up. He sobered up and he called my mom. My mom was still working at the Uptown Bar then, and he called her up and said, I'm really doing it this time. I really want to sober up and straighten my shit out, and got himself a little apartment, and was trying to put himself together. He was sober for 2 weeks, and then his heart just said, done.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fucking horrible.
I know.
Yeah, he made the commitment.
He fucking committed to fucking changing it, because I would imagine, now that we know he died pretty much of a heart attack, now that we know, he probably was feeling pretty terrible to just go, okay, I got to stop now.
Right.
Because I'm fucked up. This hurts. Painful.
Yeah.
Done.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, you know what? It happens. It's part of life and death. They're all intertwined,
Yeah. In like I see, like I went to look at some videos and stuff. What is your? You seem to have taken to Haiti.
Yeah, of all the weird things, when I turned 30, I started getting sort of a social conscience. I really started seeing things happening in the world that were starting to trouble me, and it kind of like just snuck up on me, because I'd been pretty much, just way out of it, not really caring about much of anything except what's in front of me, And I started to kind of just think about stuff. And when Katrina happened, I felt really bad, but I was traveling a lot. I didn't have time to go get involved, so I donated money to the Red Cross like everyone else thought was a good idea. And then I saw what they did and didn't do, which was totally heartbreaking to me, and was really just bummed out by it. So when the Haiti earthquake happened and all those people lost their lives and that, I was watching this kind of from my TV, just going, Jesus, what the hell can I do? And so I had a friend of mine in Philly that headed a organization called Kids of Cajon, which is it's a nonprofit that helps get school supplies to different tribes in Senegal and different parts of Africa. It's actually expanded quite a bit since he's been doing this. He did it right out of high school, but I called him up and I said, Luke, so do you know anybody that I can call it, try and find out what I can do to help in Haiti. I don't want to just send money somewhere. I want to, find out where it's going to go and try and make sure I can do something good with my time and what money I can raise. And he actually knew somebody. So I got a hold of this guy, Matt, and he turned me on to this foundation that works with a school called Tim Tech down there, and Father Simon, who runs it. And I went down there with my manager, Benny. Saw the school, met the guy, Father Simon, this 80-year-old saint, basically, that takes these kids off the street, as young as 5 years old, homeless kids that don't have family, anything. Takes them, gives them housing and shelter, educates them, turns them out with a trade of some sort, whether it's a mechanic of some sort, electrician, a mason, whatever, stuff, tools that, education that they can actually use in their community to help rebuild it, in effect, is the goal.
Right.
And I just I fell in love with it. I met the kids, and it just took my heart. So since then, I've been trying to do everything I can to raise money for them, because everyone's forgotten about Haiti and their plight, and now there's a bit of a civil war happening down there, and they're just getting fucked. There's nobody, and there are people trying to help, like Sean Penn's down there trying to do the best he can with whatever he's got, and he's got probably more resources than anyone to do what, he's doing, the work he's doing down there, but it's just not enough. There's so much, but, I haven't gone in with the idea that I'm going to help Haiti, per se, and try and help the whole country. I've found a little pocket of kids that I can help by raising money. And so that's what I've been doing.
Well, that's great, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to raise money for them every year, and last year we got some tools for them that I'm still trying to find out how to get down there, because you try and get them through customs and they're going to steal them. So I got about $19,000 worth of tools sitting in Philadelphia with the Mennonites organization that's waiting for a window of opportunity to get that stuff in, and hopefully it'll happen this spring.
See, who would have known that rock and roll would lead you to this place where you're concerned whether the Mennonites can smuggle some tools into Haiti so the kids can learn a trade.
I know, right? Fuck. What's wrong with me? Jesus.
Yeah,
the kooky crap. But it's
it's great. You're not concerned about a shipment of blow.
Yeah. No, exactly.
And you feel that, it's an interesting wall to hit, but, you must have just, you had, almost a spiritual moment where you're like, I've done nothing.
It actually came to that. I'm thinking to myself one day, God, if I died right now, what do I leave fucking as a legacy? Oh, he just tried to fucking sell records. And, this, asinine, sort of, lifestyle, that we live to try and fucking do this one thing, which is to be fucking pop stars or whatever. It's well, that's a great legacy to leave behind, right?
Yeah, he lived to rock.
He's, what would the tombstone say? Derp.
Yeah.
But no, I just started thinking about it. I've got kids, and at that point I had a kid, and I went. My heart got into wanting to help these people with any way I could. I got down there. And then I, was heartbroken and really wanted to help. And I think I'll always, have that mind, because I've always loved kids. I've always been that guy that, gets along with kids and, has them.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. I don't have any, but I'm being pushed to the edge with it. My girl wants to have them.
Yeah, well,
I'm 49, so.
There's only one way to do that, Mark.
I'm doing that. I've just been doing it very carefully. Up to this point.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You guys, are you and what's left of the Replacements ever going to go at it again just for fun? Would it be you and Tommy and Paul? I think that I think Paul and I are always going to play together in some fashion at some point. We never, like I said, we didn't break up, but what's to say we wouldn't start a new band together either? Right,
you never know. But we had a really good time doing the Songs for Slim thing, and I think we might go and try and record some more stuff live like that. I mean, the thing that we did was really fun. We met at a studio with a drummer guy that we know and this other guitar player that we've known forever, and we just started hacking out some songs, and we did it for an afternoon and came up with 4 songs for this EP. One of them was Slim's. Had a great time doing it, great vibe. and kind of came to the conclusion we should do this again with some original songs one of these days. I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'll call you in a couple months. We'll fucking book some time and go do it. So, without any, without any,
fanfare.
without any fanfare, we're going to record again at some point soon, and I don't know what we'll do with it.
Do you ever think about just like touring? Because if you think about like the fans of the Replacements, the diehards have got to be about my age.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you think like, you could even do like a respectable theater gig, just you and Paul.
I'll tell you, they keep every fucking year from Coachella down. They always call us up. They call up, Paul's manager, and they want a replacement, gig, and they're offering us silly money to do it. It's like we couldn't just. We talk about it every fucking year. We have the conversation, it's like we can't just do it that way. It would just be it would be beneath us to just go and do a money grab and just, It
was like a nostalgia act.
Yeah, we were never about the money. Otherwise, we would have probably been able to, handshake our way to the top, or blow our way to the top, as it were, as others were doing at that time.
Yeah. Is there any of the guys like from that era, that scene, like even the Minneapolis scene, that you are like you talk to, or like?
Yeah, I talked to a lot of those guys.
Are you friends with Mold?
I haven't seen Bob in a long time, but we're friendly. If I saw him, we'd probably sit and chat for a bit. All the old suburb guys, I see those guys around once in a while. A lot of bands. I see Keith Morris from Circle Jerks every time. Seems like I see him every time I come out here.
And and people are holding up all right?
Yeah, man, everyone that I still know. It's like, I saw Frank Black at the Dinosaur Jr. show in New York, I don't know, a month and a half.
Jay came by here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so I saw him at Jay's show, and we just got to talking, and he's actually going to sing a track for this song, for Slim Stuff, and he's going to do it actually at my studio, like on the 24th or whatever, but we just got to talking about, like, God, it's just still great that we still like to come and see bands that we, liked back then and checked out, and I still like writing songs. Yeah, you too? Well, that's killer. It's kind of goofy in a way, but we're getting older, we get kids and lives and houses and, responsibilities to some degree, but it's like, there's a handful of guys that I still know that still can, eke out a living. Although Charles ain't eking out no living. He's doing great. But, they still have the inspiration. Still, they're not bitter about it.
Right.
There's a couple guys that I know that are still fucking bitter about it. And it's
never
like,
gonna
dude,
go
you
away.
gotta just get the fuck over yourself. It's like, it's not worth it. You're just that guy sitting there complaining about what should be, and it ain't. So fuck it,
Locked in that mode.
Yeah, that's, what are you going to do now? Sit there and bitch and moan about it? No one gives a fuck.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, not only do they not give a fuck, but they'll avoid you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm glad you're doing all right, man. Thanks for coming.
Thanks a lot.
You bet. Rock and roll, people. Rock and roll. That dude has lived the life. I appreciate him coming by. Hey, look, folks. That's it. That's our show. I want to let you know that today we're sponsored by Hulu Plus. With Hulu Plus, you get total control to watch thousands of shows wherever you want, whenever you want. Binge on full seasons of your favorite shows. Watch stuff you just missed, or every episode of classic shows. It's endless, people. They've got Community, South Park, SNL, classic Arrested Development, and you can watch my old stand-up special. Man, there's tons of stuff on here. Hulu Plus is only $7.99 per month when you go to huluplus.com/WTF. And right now, get an extended free trial of Hulu Plus that is only available to podcast listeners. That's huluplus.com/WTF for your extended free trial. Go to WTFpod.com for all your WTF pod needs. Get on that mailing list. Buy some merch. Gonna have the coffee mug /coffee deal soon with the hand-thrown mug by my guy up in Portland, Brian Jones. The amazing Brian Jones. He's